Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we are tackling a massive, silent threat lurking in almost every modern enterprise network. You might think your perimeter is locked down tight, but there are urgent, hidden security risks embedded in the mandatory coexistence of IPv4 and IPv6. We're going to map out exactly how this dual stack configuration challenge happens, and more importantly, how to fix it.
Here's our architectural roadmap for today. 1. The end of IPv4. 2. The dual stack baseline. 3. The configuration challenge. 4. Hidden security blind spots. And finally, 5. Securing the dual stack.
Section 1. The end of IPv4, or the undeniable reality of address exhaustion. For years, the IT industry treated IPv4 address exhaustion like this looming theoretical problem, something future engineers would just have to deal with. But let's establish a hard truth right out of the gate. IPv4 exhaustion is a concluded historical event. It is not some hypothetical future scenario. Consider the year 2011, specifically February 2011. That is when the IANA free pool was completely depleted.
Following that, all 5 regional internet registries completely exhausted their standard allocation pools by 2019. So if you're waiting for the exhaustion crisis to hit, well, you've already missed it by over a decade. And because of this, the transition isn't just hypothetical, it's highly operational right now. By 2026, about 45% of Google users are reaching services over IPv6. Massive ISPs like T-Mobile US and Reliance Jio, they're already operating IPv6 primary or even IPv6 only access networks. But here is the catch that completely traps enterprise architects. While modern networks scale IPv6, our legacy infrastructure is handcuffing us. Older OT and ICS systems, embedded industrial devices, and enterprise apps with hard-coded IPv4 dependencies just can't be quickly replatformed. That forces us into a prolonged, mandatory coexistence period that we'll be measuring in decades, not years.
Which brings us to Section 2, the dual stack baseline, running both protocols simultaneously.
The most common strategy for managing this decades-long coexistence is the dual stack. By definition, it's the simplest model where every single node runs complete, independent IPv4 and IPv6 protocol stacks side by side. Protocol selection is generally driven by DNS, meaning AAA records are preferred over A records, with mechanisms like happy eyeballs providing a quick fallback to IPv4 if the IPv6 connection fails. There is no complex translation overhead here. Packets just traverse the network end-to-end in their native protocol.
But we really need to weigh this baseline model. On the advantages side, it's immediately appealing. There's no translation overhead, it preserves full end-to-end semantics, and there's no single point of failure at a translator. Plus, you can incrementally deploy it host by host. But then, you look at the disadvantages. The administrative burden is massive. It literally doubles your routing table size and your IP address management or IPAM complexity because, who doesn't love manually dual addressing every single interface, right? And the kicker. It completely fails to solve IPv4 address exhaustion because you are still consuming public IPv4 space per host. You're basically just forcing your operational teams to juggle 2 complete protocol stacks at the exact same time.
All right, Section 3, the configuration challenge, the Trojan horse in your network.
Think of your network like a house. Because of that immense administrative burden we just discussed, security teams often treat IPv4 like a heavily fortified, multi-locked front door. But in doing so, they leave IPv6 acting as a silent, wide-open backdoor. It's literally a Trojan horse already inside your environment. In fact, a crucial point from our source material spells it out perfectly. The IPv6 interface is wide open while IPv4 is locked down. This represents the single most common dual-stack misconfiguration in enterprise environments today. Teams will spend days meticulously crafting their IPv4 policies and completely forget that a second, entirely independent protocol stack is sitting right there, active and completely unguarded.
Let's walk through the specific attack surfaces this creates, systematically exposing exactly how your traditional perimeter defenses are being bypassed. First up, the firewall rule gap. Teams write detailed IP tables rules for IPv4, but they leave IP6 tables completely blank. Second is the scanner blind spot. Security and vulnerability scanners are notoriously configured against IPv4 address inventories. They just entirely miss IPv6 listeners. Next, we have socket binding. Applications that bind to the double-colon wildcard, which is the IPv6 wildcard, are silently listening on both IPv4 and IPv6 paths. And finally, unintended activation. Modern operating systems actually enable the IPv6 stack by default without you having to lift a finger.
Section 4. Hidden security blind spots. How default settings compromise defense.
The systems you trust are quietly betraying their operators simply by functioning exactly as designed. It is an urgent reality that Linux, Windows, and macOS activate their IPv6 stacks by default. And you have to understand that default IPv4 rule sets offer exactly zero protection against IPv6 traffic. None. Zero. That means a service that your team has fully hardened against an IPv4 attack could remain completely naked and exposed on its IPv6 address. Because vulnerability scanners miss this, and because that double-colon wildcard socket binding listens on both paths, a bad actor can completely bypass your carefully constructed IPv4 security controls just by communicating over the IPv6 path. It is an invisible, active vulnerability sitting right under your nose.
The universal risk identified in the architectural research is that every single transition mechanism, whether it's dual stack, tunneling, or translation, requires explicit mechanism-aware firewall rules constructed from scratch. You absolutely cannot just copy and paste your IPv4 mindset over. IPv6 firewall design demands explicit policy construction from first principles.
Section 5. Securing the dual stack. Closing the back door.
So how do we actually fix it? Step 1. You must achieve rule set parity. Enforce identical permit and deny logic across both your IPv4 and IPv6 rule sets. Every single rule has to have a corresponding rule in the other address family. Step 2. Do not rely on humans to remember this. Automate parity checking in your CI/CD pipelines for firewall as code deployments. You literally configure the pipeline to fail the build if IPv6 rules are absent for any new IPv4 rule. You manually bridge the gap today, and then you lock it down permanently with automation.
I want to leave you with a really provocative question based on everything we've uncovered today. Think about your own network architecture for a second. Is your IPv6 backdoor wide open right now? I highly recommend that you immediately audit your own environment's IP6 tables and review the scopes of your vulnerability scanners. The exhaustion of IPv4 is a decade in our rearview mirror, and the dual stack configuration challenge is here to stay. Make sure you're actually securing it. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.